This is the agenda for today's session. If you look at it, you might think there is not much to cover today, just like the last session, but as we realized, there is quite a lot to cover. So there are two main topics for today's session. First one is we will practice whatever you have learned so far for German A1 level for daily life. And the other one is that just like last time, this time also you will be introduced to some new concepts. And today it will be how to use the English word this. So what is the corresponding word in German? And of course, there will be some grammar associated with it. Let us start. This is the disclaimer. So many of you already know the intention behind offering these sessions. These sessions are not explicitly designed to prepare you for any kind of language exam. In these sessions, you will learn some important or several important A1 level German topics that I think you need in your daily life. If you happen to join this session for the first time, please be aware that this is the 11th session. We have already had 10 sessions. After this, we will have one more session, and after that, we will start with the new batch. And that is starting, I believe, just after this week on Tuesday. So you can write to us if you want to join those sessions. Okay, this is again a request from me. Many of you have been sending me your homework. When you do that, please use this format for the subject of your homework emails. So write homework, vertical line, session number, and the session number, and then vertical line, and then write your first name so that I can identify your homework from someone else. Also, if you think your name is too common, if your first name is too common, then you may add the initial of the last name or the last name itself. Okay, the first sentence. Can you forward the email to me? It's obviously a question. So how you will write this in German? Okay, so a few things that should be obvious to you in the beginning itself. So you are using two verbs, so can and the verb to forward. So you need to know the German counterparts for each of them. So also you know that the English word can, if you want to write the same in German, it's a modal verb, and you know what modal verb is. And then this will be a normal verb. So also you need to know the German word for email. This happens to be the same email, but it's feminine, so the definite article is the email. And the verb for can is können, the modal verb. Here is the conjugation table. So ich kann, du kannst, er, es, sie kann, ihr könnt. The verb for to forward in German is weiterleiten, but as you know, I have requested you to look for new verbs in the website leo.org. And there, when you look for the German word for German verb for forward, you will see the result as this: etw.akk.unjmdn. If you don't know, this is an abbreviation for etwas, meaning something. This is the abbreviation for accusative. That means this, whatever this is. If there is an article, you have to use the accusative article. And then after an, you have jmdn. This is abbreviation for jemanden, meaning someone. And sometimes it might be jmdm for different verb. If there is an m at the end, it's again it means it is an abbreviation for jemandem, but jemanden means accusative, jemandem means dative. Okay, they both mean the same in English, someone. So how also, so as I said here, you need to know the accusative. Also, you need to use the accusative article after an and the object of your sentence. So, and normally this is an jemandem. So it's a person, it's a pronoun. If there is no name, if you are referring to this person by their pronoun, so it must be accusative. So if it is you're talking to someone, let's say directly talking to someone, and you can be informal, then it will be du dich. If accusative, then dich. By the way, but here you are referring to yourself, to me, so you will have to use mich. I hope this table is clear to you. Also, you need to use, so this the email comes over here, the object of the sentence, and this will be accusative. So you will have to use the accusative article being used with email, and it's the. Again, if you notice here, the, das, the, so no change, but only for masculine, you have to, it changes from there to the. So let's try to write the sentence. Of course, the very first, because this is a question, at the very first position you will have a verb, but here we have modal verb and a verb. So at the very first position you will have the modal verb. So you have to conjugate können with respect to object, that is du. So it will be this one. So kannst du. Then you have the object email. Again, this will be accusative, so you have to use the accusative article, in which is the. So kannst du die email. Then an, the preposition an, and then what comes after an, it should be accusative, and it's a pronoun, so it's mich. And then of course the verb as it is, weiterleiten. Remember, when you have a modal verb and a verb in a sentence, you only conjugate the modal verb. The other verb, you can just use it as it is in its infinitive form. I hope you know what infinitive form of a verb is. For example, infinitive form of, this is the infinitive form, können, and these are the conjugations. Okay. Next sentence is, I did forward the email to you. The very first thing that should be obvious to you is that this sentence is based in past tense. So either you have to decide whether it will be Präteritum or Partizip zwei. Because it is more commonly used, we'll go with Partizip zwei. Also, the verb you will use forward. You know that already. But you have to understand when you write, and again, as I already mentioned, it will be Partizip zwei. So you need to know the Partizip zwei of weiterleiten. So that is weitergeleitet. Okay. And again, the same table that you need for personal pronouns, Personalpronomen. Again, the same table for definite articles. Also, you will have to, so when you write something in Partizip zwei, you have to use the helping verbs either sein or haben, and you have to use its conjugated form. Here, the correct helping verb is haben, and we have to use its conjugation for the subject. The subject will be I, meaning ich, so ich habe. Let's try to write the sentence. At the second position, because this is a sentence and not a question, the verb will come at the second position. You have to conjugate it, and it will be conjugated with respect to the subject, which is ich, conjugate. But here you have the helping verb, so ich habe. Then the object email, it will be accusative, meaning the article should be in accusative case. So the email, ich habe die email. Preposition an, what comes after this will be accusative, and that will be, I did forward the email to you, so it should be this one, an dich. Okay, so an dich, you use the Partizip zwei of the verb. Partizip zwei of weiterleiten is weitergeleitet. Okay. The reason I gave you these two sentences is this is important for many professionals or students as well. So you will receive emails and you have to tell them that, can you please forward it to me? And then you can also respond, I already forwarded it to you. And also that you learn to know that verbs, how to use the verbs that you find in leo.org. Next sentence is quite easy. So it's the same sentence, but instead of forwarding, the verb is send, to send, and instead of email you, it is a resume. So what changes here is, so the verb for, you need to know the verb for to send in its participle zwei form, that is schicken becomes geschickt. So ich habe dir, because here this is the indirect object. The direct object is resume, that is Lebenslauf. It's their Lebenslauf, masculine. It will be accusative. And here you are using possessive article. So my, it's over here. Ich, mein, meinen. So this is the table for possessive articles. This is the table for possessive articles which happen to be masculine. Okay. Please pay attention to this headline, masculine possessive article. So ich habe dir meinen Lebenslauf geschickt. You can use some other verb as well. Senden is also quite often used. So ich habe dir meinen Lebenslauf gesendet. Again, the same sentence. Instead of resume, you are sending cover letter. So all you have to know is what is the word for cover letter. That happens to be anschreiben, and it is feminine. So the possessive article will change accordingly. Again, notice this table is for neutral. Okay, so this column and this column is the same because neutral possessive article from nominative to accusative, there is no change. But I just want you to know that here it is accusative and not nominative and not dative. Okay, it's accusative. So I believe this is clear. Next question. In attachment, you find my application documents. So few things that you should know. You need to know the verb for to find. Okay. Also, you should check, is there only one verb to be used or more than one verb? I think that is just one verb. Okay. So, and the German verb for to find is I use finden. Okay. And you need to know the conjugation for it. Ich finde, du findest, sie findet, ihr findet. Let's try to frame this sentence. Imagine, let's try to do this without this word in attachment. If you just want to say you find documents, so you will say Sie. Let's say we are being formal and we are talking to one person only. Sie finden. Let's say if it was only documents, so it would be Sie finden Dokumente. Now you want to say in attachment, so for now you can just learn this by heart. In attachment you can say it by saying im Anhang. This im is a combination of in plus dem becomes im. For now you just remember this. So it's im Anhang. Then the verb finden. This has been conjugated with respect to this subject sie. As I said, this is the conjugation table. So for ich, du, sie, ihr, you have this. For every other personal pronoun, you just use the verb in its infinitive form, which is finden. So im Anhang finden, then the subject sie, then the object Bewerbungsunterlagen. This is plural. Die Bewerbungsunterlagen. You can also use Bewerbungsdokumente. No problem with that. And then the article before it, here the article is possessive, so mine, so it's mine. Again, notice this table is for plural. Again, there is no difference between the this column and that column. Okay, I just want you to know this. Okay, next question, not question but new concept that you should learn that I had mentioned in the beginning. This, quite often in English you say sentences like I want this, I want that, or I am writing this, I am writing that, or you, let's say if you go to some place, let's say if you go to a cake shop and you want to buy a cake and you don't know what is it called, so you just point, I want this one, I want that one. So, and you can say this also in German, but here you have to be careful of the cases dative, accusative, or nominative. What do I mean by that? So these are the rules that you need to remember. So in nominative, okay, let's say you are using these with an object and that object is in nominative case. So it will be these are for masculine, these are for feminine, these are for neutral. For plural, it will be these are. For accusative, you can read. There is, for accusative, from nominative to accusative, as it happens, the only change that you see is for the masculine. The other just remain the same. So these are, these are, these are, these are, these are, these are. This one, these are, becomes these are. Okay, but for dative, everything changes. So masculine and neutral become thesem, feminine becomes these are, and plural becomes these are. I hope this was easy to follow. If not, we'll look at a few examples and that will help you understand it better, how to use it. Next sentence is I saw your message. How you will write this in German. The very first thing that should be obvious to you is the sentence is based in past. So you have to decide whether Präteritum or Partizip zwei. We will go with Partizip zwei because that's more commonly used, at least in the spoken German. So the verb for to see is sehen. The Partizip zwei is gesehen. Also, you need to know the word for message. This is obvious, die Nachricht. Then you have to, because this sentence is based in past and we are going with partizip zwei, we will have to use a helping verb, and the helping verb that is appropriate over here is haben, and you have to conjugate it for the subject. The subject here is I, which is ich in German, so ich habe. Your, it's again possessive article, so here is the table. Here I assume that you are talking to someone with whom you don't have to be formal, so you can use deine. If it was formal situation, you would have used ihre. Okay. How will you write the sentence? You start. This is just to tell you that this sie, ihre, again this sie, ihre, they are identical rows, but one of them stands for singular, one of them stands for plural, or you can think of it this way: for singular and plural, when you are talking to second person and you want to be formal, so there is no change in the pronouns. Okay, let's try to write this sentence. Because this is a sentence, at the second position you will have the verb. Here the verb will be a helping verb. You have to conjugate it with respect to the subject. Subject happens to be ich, so ich habe. Then the object Nachricht, it is an accusative case, so whatever comes here, the article must be an accusative case. It's deine. I hope this was clear. Yes, then you have to end the sentence also. So, and that is, you use the partizip zwei of sehen, that is gesehen. So, ich habe deine Nachricht gesehen. Next sentence is, I am working on a presentation. This sentence is very important because you can use it for in different scenarios, right? I am working on a presentation. I am working on on my thesis, and you can think of other scenarios. Right now, I can't think of other scenarios, but I use it quite often. I believe you can. This can be your homework where all you can use uh, the phrase "I am working on something." All right. So you should know the German word for presentation. You already know this from the previous sessions. Present. So the word is die Präsentation. Quite often people just say, at least in my circle, they just say Präsi instead of Präsentation. Then you need to know the verb for to work. Yes, you know, you think it's arbeiten, but here this is a special case, right? So you want to say working on something. So in Leo, this is what you get, an etwas dativ arbeiten. So what comes here? So you want to say you are working on something, and that something, when you write in sentence, it will be considered as dative case. The verb is arbeiten. Here is the conjugation table. Then here you are using indefinite article. So this is the table for indefinite article, for accusative, dative, and for masculine, feminine, neutral scenarios. So let's write the sentence again. This is a sentence and there is only one verb. So the verb will come at the second position. It will be conjugated with respect to the subject ich. So ich arbeite. Then comes the preposition an. Then what comes after is, so you will have the uh, object over here, of course, Präsentation. And then it will be in dative case, the article associated with the object. So here it's Präsentation happens to be feminine, and we have to use dative indefinite article, so it's eine. Again, pronunciation of eine and eine is the same. You can, sometimes when you're learning for the first time, uh, emphasize the R part as well, but you don't have to. So you can say ich arbeite an einer Präsentation, but you don't have to. You can just say it as ich arbeite an einer Präsentation. Okay. The sentence is pretty much the same with just one addition, the addition of the word still. So I'm still working on a presentation. So all you have to do is just between arbeite and the preposition an, add this German counterpart for it. If you know, then very good. If you don't know, then the word is immer noch. Many of you are thinking, how is this possible? Immer means always, and noch you use when you use it in different scenarios. For example, if you go to a restaurant and you order, and then the waiter asks, do you want something else? Or it will just say, or the waiters will just say something else, and they say it by saying knock et was. But here the combination of immer and knock means still. Okay, just accept it. So immer knock usually means still. So ich arbeite immer noch an einer Präsentation. Next sentence is I have to write this code in Python. Sentence is based in present tense. There are two verbs, have to and to write. So have to will become the modal verb, write will be the normal verb. So of course you don't need to know the German word for code. It happens to be as code as well, and this is considered to be masculine. Then you need to know the verb for to write, which is schreiben. Then have to is you have to use the modal verb. So müssen is more appropriate over here of the 6 modal verbs that we know. Of course, when you are using modal verb and a verb in a sentence, you conjugate only the modal verb. So this is the conjugation table. And here, this you learned. So I have to write, you're not saying I have to write the code, a code, your code, my code. You're saying I have to write this code in Python. Okay, so here you have to use the German word these, but again, you have to use it according to which case it's being used. So nominative, accusative, or dative, and then you have to check whether it is being used with the masculine, feminine, neutral, or plural object. So here code is masculine and it is used in accusative case. So you are, if you write what you write, that object becomes accusative. So that is where the action is being done. So let's try to write. As I said, when there are two verbs, there is a modal verb and there is a normal verb in a sentence. You start with the modal verb. At the second position, you have to conjugate it with respect to the subject, ich, then ich muss, then object, code. It is accusative. Use the correct article, diesen, ich muss diesen code in Python schreiben. Okay, you will, people who are programmers or consultants, they might need to they can use this sentence in different scenarios. Okay, next sentence is one is not allowed to smoke here. This should be obvious, but let's just try to do it. So here the subject is, if you notice, it's one. Okay, so it's not a pronoun, it's a pronoun, but not that you have in this table. So the word for one in German is Mann. Notice not double N, just one N, M-A-N, Mann. So you're saying one is not allowed to smoke here. So here you need two verbs again. So it's not obvious, but whenever you see the whenever you have to see a sentence that involves to allow or to something where there is permission to be given, then you think of the modal verb dürfen. Okay, you think of the modal verb dürfen. So, and you have to conjugate it with the pronoun. So here, the one, what you see over here in German, it's Mann, and Mann is considered to be third person. Okay, so man darf rauchen, nicht rauchen, and then to say here, you just say here, but the spelling is different. Okay, man darf hier nicht rauchen. Okay. Next sentence is I trained my legs today in the gym. This looks difficult, but it's not actually if you just dissect the sentence carefully. So again, past tense, two verbs, not just one verb. So past tense, the verb is train. So you need to know the verb for train. Before that, you need to know the word for legs. So the word for leg is das Bein, plural is die Beine. And you need to, as I was telling you, so you need to know the verb for to train, which is trainieren. But the sentence is based in past, and we will write in past with the help of participle zwei instead of Präteritum. So trainieren becomes trainiert. Also, you will need the helping verb. So here the helping verb that is appropriate is haben, and its conjugation table, of course. So, and also here using possessive article my. So you need to know the also lex is So here it will be beinahe, plural. So this article is only for plural possessive article. If you notice this column and this column, there is no difference, but I just wanted to tell you that, yeah, just want to tell you that the columns contain the same value, but we are using this minor and not this minor because it's accusative. It might sound funny that I'm using this minor and this minor, but I hope you get the idea. So let's start. So the very first second position will be taken by the helping verb, and it will be conjugated with respect to the subject ich habe, heute. Then the object is beinahe. It the article associated will be in accusative case, so beinahe. So ich habe heute beinahe, meine Beine, Partizip 2 of the verb, trainiert, and then you can add more information. Where did you train it? Train your legs. So in fitness studio. Okay. This is dative, right? I hope you know why this is dative. Because this is the second object in the sentence, and usually the second object in the sentence is dative. If there is no, if you don't know what to use, usually the second object is uh, considered to be in dative case. Also, you don't have to use this heute here. If you can use it at the beginning of the sentence, the only change that will happen is that then the ish will be moved over here. So the subject is either before or after the verb. If something takes the first position, then the subject will take the position after the verb. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is you can also say heute habe ich im Fitnessstudio meine Beine trainiert. Okay. Okay, this is dative, which we already discussed. Next sentence. Now I can't walk up the stairs. This usually happens after training your legs, at least with me. So let's start. So again, this sentence is based in present tense. It should be obvious to you. You will have to use the modal verb können, and also you need to know how to say walk up. So you know how to say walk. Walk up is hochgehen. Okay, the German verb. So and for the stairs, the word is die Treppen, of course, plural. So können is the modal verb that you will use. It's the conjugation table. The verb to say to walk up is hochgehen. This is a trennbare verb, please remember. So and the word for now is jetzt. So you start with jetzt. The second position will be taken by, okay, you can also have ich over here, but I want to start with jetzt. So jetzt, then the second position will be taken by the verb, which has to be conjugated with respect to the subject, which is ich, which then it becomes jetzt kann ich. Die Treppen hochgehen. If you say this, it means you can walk up the stairs, but if you want to say I cannot walk up the stairs, then you have to use the word nicht. Jetzt kann ich die Treppe nicht hochgehen. This is a mistake. It's not Partizip 2. This is infinitive. I repeat, this is not Partizip 2. It's infinitive form. I will just correct this right away. Let me use a different color. This is wrong. All right, I hope you could follow. I'm back to my pointer. Next slide. I cannot answer this question. You might need to say this sometimes. Or if you want to say, I can answer this question. Especially during our sessions when I say, can somebody answer this question? You can say, yeah, I can answer this question. But from now, I will request you to say that in German. So again, obvious, you're using two verbs, the verb for to answer and the verb for to can or to cannot. So modal verb and the verb for answer. Here, there are two options. We can use antworten or beantworten. In the last session, session 10, I told you when to use antworten, when to use beantworten. Based on that understanding, we will use beantworten. Also, the word for question you should know, that is Frage, happens to be feminine. So the Frage, the verb that we will use is beantworten. Again, this is not a trennbare verb. Okay, be is not a separable prefix. This is the conjugation table for the modal verb können. Also, remember, not remember, please pay attention. here you have to use this in German. Okay, so and these are actually referred to as demonstrative article in German, so that's why the name. So here is the table you have for it. Here question is feminine, so I think it will be here in this row. Now you have to decide nominative, accusative, dative. Of course, question is in accusative case in this sentence, so you have to use feminine accusative. So these are. All right, let's try to write. The second position taken by the modal verb conjugated for ich becomes ich kann, and the verb itself goes to the last position in infinitive form. Then the object is Frage, must be the article must be accusative. So ich kann diese Frage. Of course, you want to say not that you can answer this question. So ich kann diese Frage nicht beantworten. If you want to say I can answer this question, ich kann diese Frage beantworten. I'll just give you the answer. What is the difference between beantworten and antworten? When you use antworten, the direct object is usually a person. What I mean by that? So if you're answering to someone, then you use antworten. For example, ich antworte dich, ich antworte ihm, ich antworte ihr. Okay? Uh, Not ihr. Ich antworte ihn and ich antworte sie. It has to be accusative. But when you are answering something which is not a person, okay, then you use beantworten. That is one hint that you can use. There can be other hints as well, but this is something that I use. All right, I want to book an appointment. You can use this quite often by getting an appointment at the Ausländerbehörde to get an appointment at the Ausländerbehörde, or if you want to book a doctor's appointment or whatever kind of appointment do you want to book in Germany. So it should be obvious to you. There are two verbs, to want to and to book. So the of course you need to know the word for appointment, which is termin, and it's masculine, so der Termin. Then to book, there are many options, so but it depends on the context. So here the correct context, as per the context, the correct verb, German verb is vereinbaren. Okay, this is not a trennbare verb, it's vereinbaren. Instead of, let's say, if the sentence was I want to book a movie ticket, then the correct verb would have been buchen, B-U-C-H-E-N. But here you are booking an appointment. So when the sentence is in context of an appointment and you're using the verb to book, then this is the correct verb. I hope this was clear. Then you need to use modal verb to express this strong wish. The correct verb actually is not correct, but the technically correct is will be wollen, modal verb. But as I said, quite often you don't use it because that's too strong, and we use the slightly lighter version, and that is möchten. Möchten is not actually a modal verb, it is a derivation of a modal verb, and technically it is the conjunctive zwei of mögen. Mögen is a modal verb. That's, you don't need to know all that. Whenever you want to say I want to, you can just use the modal verb möchten. But you can also use wollen. That's not a problem. Of course, you need to know the conjugation table for this modal verb. Then here you are using indefinite article, so you have this table over here. So let's try writing this sentence. The second position will be taken by the modal verb, which has to be conjugated with respect to the subject. So ich möchte, and the verb goes to the last position. It will be in its infinitive form, so you don't have to conjugate it. Then the object is termin, and here you have to, it will be an accusative case. So the article is indefinite and termin is masculine and it's accusative, so einen. Ich möchte einen Termin vereinbaren. We have to postpone our appointment. Might happen. You book an appointment, but you can't make it to the appointment. So it's nice to just let them know. So we have to postpone our appointment. It's quite easy, instead of, so I mean the sentence structure remains the same. You just need to use different verbs. So you, instead of booking, you need to know the verb for to postpone, and we have to. So last time it was, in the last slide it was I want to, here it's have to. So by now you should know, when you think of have to, think of the modal verb müssen. Okay, of course, you already know that termin. So the verb for postponing is verschieben. This is the one that I use. If there is another verb that you can use in this situation, please comment. Of course, the modal verb which I just said, you will use müssen. So ich muss, du musst, sie muss, ihr müsst. This is the conjugation table. Of course, here you are using possessive article, and here is the table for masculine possessive article because appointment is masculine, termin is masculine, and we will be using unseren because it's our. Okay, so you start with the verb at the last position in its infinitive form. Then at the second position, you will have the modal verb conjugated via müssen, object termin, accusative. Therefore, the correct article is unseren. Wir müssen unseren Termin verschieben. You can very easily, instead of saying just we have to postpone our appointment, let's say if you want to ask if it's possible at all, then you can say dürfen wir unseren Termin verschieben or können wir unseren Termin verschieben, or you can express a wish, we want to postpone our appointment, so wir müssen unseren Termin verschieben. Okay. Next sentence, I have stomach pain. This sentence looks pretty simple, but you might need it. And when you need it, you should, let's say you're having some pain and then you want to call the doctor and they usually ask, what is the problem, right? So, and then you need to know, to tell them what kind of a pain you have or where you have pain. So one easy way to say that is, so here the verb for stomach pain, the word for stomach pain is Bauchschmerzen or Magenschmerzen. There is a difference between Bauch and Magen. Please find that out. It's it's a very subtle difference, but you should know that. The verb that we will use is haben, so ich. This is the conjugation table. It will come at the second position, conjugated for ich. So ich habe Bauchschmerzen. Not this object is an accusative case, but it's irrelevant because you are not using an article. Okay, now think of different scenarios where you might have pain and just try to write this sentence. Ich habe Bauchschmerzen, ich habe Kopfschmerzen, ich habe Beinschmerzen. Different ways to describe the pains that you suffer from. Next slide. How much does it cost? Where do you need it? I mean, in Germany, we usually buy stuff from supermarkets and there the cost is already there. But let's say if you happen to go visit a flea market, there also they usually have the price label displayed. But if you can't see it and you still want to ask, or if you want to haggle, then you need to remember this sentence or how to say it in German. So how much does it cost? So the verb for kosten is to cost is kosten, starts with K. This is the conjugation table for different pronouns. So you start with how is we, much is feel, so we feel. Then you have the verb which will be conjugated with respect to the subject. The subject is it, which is S in German, and then we feel costed S. Okay. All right. I don't know when you will need this, but let's say if you want to say that hurts, or if you this happens quite often, at least with me, when you have some kind of pain. Let's say there's pain in your arm, upper arm, or in your leg or somewhere, the doctors, when you go there, they usually want to figure out where exactly is the pain and they start pressing over there. So at that moment you want to say, yeah, that hurts. Then how do you say this? So the verb for to hurt is wehtun. It's a trennbare verb. And how this is how you say it. Das tut weh. So you take the prefix, move it to the last position, and here you have conjugated it for third person. Okay, so I don't have the conjugation table over here. Please find it out, or maybe I can add it later in the comment section. So das tut weh. Next sentence is you hurt me. I don't think when I don't know where you will need this sentence, but let's say if you want to tell someone that they have done something and it hurt you, this is how you can say it. You already know the verb wehtun, but when you want to say someone hurts you, so that someone, you have to use it in dative case. That's why JMDM dot abbreviation for jemand dumb. So you start with do. Okay. Yeah. By the way, this means so wehtun. So to hurt someone, right? The object is someone, and that someone must be in accusative case. So do. So you hurt. Of course, this will be in. I want to write this sentence using participle zwei, and participle zwei of wehtun is wehgetan. So du hast wehgetan, du hast mir wehgetan. I hope this was clear. Du hast mir wehgetan. How long does this meeting last? You might need this quite often during your professional working life. So how long does this meeting last? You know the word for meeting, das Meeting or die Besprechung. You need to know the verb for to last, and the one that is more appropriate over is dauern. You need to know the conjugation table. Here the subject is this, right? The subject is third thing, so the third person. So you will use this conjugation dauert, because this meeting is not, you're talking about third party. I believe that is obvious. Of course, you need to know the not conjugation, but how do you use this in this sentence. So here you are using this with meeting, which is neutral, and it happens to be in nominative case. So here it is dieses. So you start with wie, that is how. Long is wie lange. You have to use the verb conjugated, dauern for third person, dauert. So wie lange dauert dieses Meeting? So meeting is in nominative case, so you use dieses. If it was Besprechung, instead of you decide to use Besprechung, then it would be wie lange dauert. It's feminine, so wie lange dauert diese Besprechung? How often does he go to gym? Or if you go to doctor, they ask, how often do you go to gym? How do you write this? Gym is fitness studio. There can be other words, but I use fitness studio, das fitness studio, because it is neutral. The verb for to go is gehen in this context. You have the conjugation table over here. So how often, you write it as wie oft. Then the verb conjugated for er. So wie oft geht er Fitness studio. Here it is in accusative case. So wie oft geht er ins Fitnessstudio? All right. He is tired. I mean, I don't know if you need to say this, but sometimes you want to say you are tired, or I am tired, or we are tired, or if you want to ask are you tired, you look tired. So how do you write these sentences? So the word for tired is müde, and the verb that you are using here is sein. So sein because is. This is the conjugation table. Er conjugated ist. Er ist müde. He looks tired. Okay, if you want to make an observation, you don't. Let's just learn this sentence, and then we'll look why you want to learn this sentence. So to look, how something looks. So the verb for that is aussehen. Please notice this is made by combining the prefix aus and the verb sehen. The verb sehen normally means to see, right? So, but when you use a prefix, it becomes how something looks. So this is the conjugation table over here. You only conjugate the sehen part, aus prefix, you just don't conjugate it. So let's try to write the sentence er because he. Then at the second position, or let's just say that aus goes to the last position because it is the prefix. Then in the second position, you have to use the conjugated verb. So er sieht müde aus. Now, why did you learn this sentence? Because how something looks you need this in different scenarios, right? A colleague presents shows you his or her presentation. If you want to say, deine Präsentation sieht gut aus, or you want to say how something looks, you want to give criticism or you want to praise something, then you can say, "Hey, das sieht gut aus, das sieht schlecht aus," right? So in many different scenarios is what I'm trying to say. For example, you're looking at this presentation right now, you might thinking, diese Präsentation sieht gut aus, right? Or you can say, diese Präsentation sieht nicht so gut aus or sieht schlecht aus, right? Okay, we are done. Let's just look at the homework that you need to do if you want to. So add the new words to your vocabulary that you learned today. Rewrite each sentence by changing the subject. By that I mean use different pronouns, and then change the object, instead of try to use synonyms for the object. So instead of, you notice that some places I told you you can use Besprechung instead of meeting. You can use instead of Bewerbungsunterlagen, you can use Bewerbungsdokumente or just document. Then it becomes singular, and then how the sentence structure changes. And then of course you looked at present tense, and then you looked at past tense using participe zwei. Try to do vice versa. If the sentence is in present, do it. Try to write it for past tense. Okay, and if it is in past tense, try to write it for present tense. Another homework. This was already covered in the last sentence, but I want you to keep practicing writing sentences using das, while, then, the. So I hope you remember the sentence structure changes only for das, while, and the. For then, the sentence structure does not change. I hope you know what I mean by that. If not, please refer to the previous session. Okay, with that, we have covered our 11th session also. On Thursday, we will have the 12th session, and then that completes at least these 12 sessions. And then from Tuesday onwards, we will start with the next batch. If you want to join, you can write an email. You can write an email to this email ID. Yeah, this is not the correct slide, so it should be, yeah, we are also starting with A2 sessions. So you can also register for A2 sessions that will start from 4th September, but we are also starting with A1 sessions again from Tuesday. I can't remember the date, so I believe, but it's from the coming Tuesday. Yeah, if you want to join, you can just write an email to this email ID. Thank you very much for listening.